Okay, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. We will continue the discussion which we were doing in the previous three classes, that is history and importance of hadith. And before that, the first day when we started the paper two topic, we started with passages of hadith of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And I remember we discussed first three passages of hadith of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam there. I showed you the Cambridge expectation and some expectations for such type of questions there in that class. So we will see the same criteria and the same expectation is there for the rest of the topics also. So what we will do, once again, okay. What we will do, we will go with a quick go with the passages of hadith. Of course, I told you there is no fixed wording of main teachings and there is no fixed wording of the how to put hadith into action for part B, but we should have some specific wording with us, the technique or the strategy with us when we are explaining and developing such type of these teachings there. So the teaching and then how to put into action is our main requirement. And for part A, you should be covering the teaching. You should explain the teaching and supported by either a Quranic reference or a Hadith reference. This is the requirement of part A. For part B, you're going to use the same teachings, and then you will write ki how is it how the Muslims can put that Hadith into action. This is about sincerity, so the how the Muslims will be sincere with God and all of these things. So this is the way how you are going to develop your answer in it. So we discussed about the first two in the previous class. I think not previous class, like three classes back when we started it, we talked about the first two ones which are easy. The third one, when we look at the translation, of course you have translation with you. Apart from the main teaching, it will be good if you specify is this hadith is related to a person's individual life or communal life, or it's related to both individual and communal. Like I told you, for the first hadith, it will go in both parts. It will go for individual and communal both, as we discussed. If we talk about the first half part of the hadith, that is about individual life, like being sincere with Allah, His book, and His messengers, that's individual. And when we talk about the remaining part of the hadith, to be sincere with the leader of the Muslims and the common people, that goes for communal life there. Same hadith number two is purely communal life. But I will tell you one thing, when we will be discussing about our today's topic, that is theme based question, we need to make sure that some of the hadith, and I will say not some, more of most of the hadith in our syllabus are can be used for individual and communal both. So it depends on the way you develop the main teachings of that hadith while writing that theme-based answer, by the way. So here it's no doubt a communal hadith, teachings about communal life. So, but it could be used for individual also, because liking or disliking something for your fellow Muslim brother is an individual action. Of course, it has impact on the society there. When we look at the third hadith, which is the first hadith of our discussion today, if we look at that hadith, the Holy Prophet ﷺ taught us about the three things in it: significance of speaking good or staying silent. Or when you see that second thing here is to be generous with the neighbor, and the third thing is to be generous with the guest. So Prophet ﷺ highlighted the three actions related to huququl ibad, or the right of the people there. But you can see the Prophet ﷺ has linked each time the right of the humans with the rights of Allah. People normally think that to be a successful person in this world and life hereafter, that is that the person should just believe in Allah. No, the belief in Allah and His last day will be expressed by the person's action, by the way he will interact with the people in the society. Similarly, it also teaches us that as Allah's rights are important, or huququllah are important, similarly, hukukul ibad means the right of the people there. Then you will develop this point, significance of silence and or speaking good there, and avoiding false discussions, or it includes different sides. You can explain it: backbiting, cursing people, bullying them, like use of the power of speech wrongly, that is going to be discussed there in it. Then the rights of the neighbors, it's very easy. It could be developed with the supporting reference. You can get the reference easily for the neighbors, and then the being generous with the guest. So you can talk about these three teachings. That's briefly explained here. It could be expanded and developed more as per the uh, like time available with you. But of will be on main teachings and development more there. Okay, moving on to how to put into action. Of course, you will mention Muslims should be generous to their guests, develop it, give examples instead of feeling bad on the arrival of the guest. The person should be happy and to try to serve them with whatever is the best food available with a person. You may take the example of Prophet's companions, how they give a priority to the guest over their selves whenever they used to come to their houses. Some students may talk about the rules of going to someone's house as a guest, even it could be mentioned there, but your focus will be more on the rights of the guest there. Same goes for the neighbors. There are lots of hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ about the rights of the neighbors as well, which you will use, of course, in part A. Part B में आपने how to be a good neighbor and how not to harm the neighbor and how to be a source of comfort for the neighbor. Some students may talk about visiting them when they are. Some students may talk about attending their funeral prayer if some of the neighbors died. So visiting their family, taking care of them, attending the janaza prayer. So such type of points are going to even inquiring about if they are in need or help. And you can may develop the concept of neighbors here in the teachings portion. Okay, what do we mean by the word neighbor? Neighbor is not restricted to the people living next to your house. It includes the person staying next to you in your own house also, room partners or even the family members traveling in a train or somewhere. So there might be a person who is temporary neighbor, there might be a person who is a permanent neighbor, there might be a neighbor for a person who is a believer and a non-believer. Discussion could be developed there. Taking the example from the life of Holy Prophet could be a good point if you want to attach it with how Prophet used to behave with his neighbors there. Then we have hadith number 4. This is easy. It's purely individual life hadith. And that is hadith is talking about the easiest way in which a person can go to paradise, because the person asked Holy Prophet ﷺ a simple question and Prophet ﷺ said, yes, you can go to the paradise. So what are the actions which are mentioned in it? आपने इसको explain करना है. And what's the significance or the like importance of mentioning the three only? So you can develop that point there, because among the pillars of Islam, prayer and fasting, they are almost two pillars which are obligate after declaration of oneness of Allah. Of course, the next two pillars like the prayer and the fasting is almost obligatory on every Muslim, whereas the zakat and the hajj are limited to few people, like the people who are having financial resources, to zakat unke upar hai. Same goes for hajj also. So the Prophet ﷺ told that easy way to go to paradise. You will talk about it, you will develop the point also to declare or to treat lawful as lawful and unlawful as unlawful, or we can say forbidden as forbidden, and then develop it. What does it means actually? To just to say this is halal or this is haram, no, that's not enough. Of course the person will prove it by his or her actions, and that's the total of Islam, by the way. So avoiding haram and choosing the halal ways, that is which is mentioned here in it. All right, again, the same thing you were going to mention it. Muslims should establish prayer, they should be regular in the prayers, avoid delaying the prayer, fasting in the month of Ramadan. So again, uh, that's easy. If you know the teachings, आप इसको part B में easily develop कर सकते हैं, और ये declaring halal and haram को आप थोड़ा सा explain कर सकते हैं, कि you opting the halal way out rather than getting involved in illegal or forbidden actions. It goes for food, it goes for any activity in the life, आप उसको साथ link कर सकते हैं. तो that is good. And even what will be the impact, what will be the outcome of that. ये hadith I told you, that's hadith number 4, is purely individual life. So someone may connect it with communal as well, but again, purely if you're asked individual life, that's a very good choice to develop your answer there. Moving on to hadith number 5, it's about different ways of charity. अगर आप इस hadith की core theme को देखते हैं, which you can develop and explain there, so that is the charity. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the people that charity is not restricted to just finance. पैसा खाली जरूरी नहीं है charity में donation के अंदर. There are different ways by which a person can perform charity. Hadith of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, each part of your body needs charity. So there is another hadith of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, each joint needs charity, and then Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, yeah, it's here, the same hadith, sorry. So every part of the body must perform charity every day. You are not going to perform cash or like financial support on behalf of each joint or each part of the body. Of course, every good deed which you do in the way of Allah, if the intention of seeking Allah's happiness, so that goes in the concept of charity. So Prophet has mentioned few examples. हम कई अच्छे काम करते हैं routine में, but we think we are just doing it as a day-to-day task, but it is going to be rewarded. We just need to have a good niyyah or intention behind it. So, like for example, if someone stops the fight between two people, or you act justly between them irrespective कि he's your relative or not relative, you can develop it. Helping a person to mount his a man amount his mount, like सामान उठाने में help कर देते हैं आप किसी की, part B में आप लिख सकते हैं by helping or assisting the house help जो घर में है, maid है या servants हैं, उनको assist कर दिया, या even helping someone outside जहाँ पे genuine और valid point है, तो उसके अंदर भी आप lifting him, or yeah, that's the development of this point, helping a man with his mount, i.e. lifting him onto it or hoisting up his belongings. पुराने जमाने में या even still अब अगर आप कहीं बाजार जाते हैं, markets में जाते हैं, especially if I talk example about the Itwar Bazaar or such type of places, so sometimes you have hired someone to carry the stuff or something, but that person may need a minor support or help while carrying the heavy load or something. The person may just help, वो भी इस category में जा सकता है. Every step you take towards prayer, every good, actually it's prayer, of course, but any good action the person is taking, each leap towards a good deed, it's rewarded. तो नमाज के लिए तो Prophet की clear hadith है, the person when he takes a step towards prayer, so he will be or she will be rewarded for that. Every kind word, so all good deeds are source of charity. The Prophet ﷺ even said that removing something harmful from the road is charity. So there are different ways, and you can develop it and explain it with the help of a hadith reference here. The Muslim should be a source of comfort and ease for his fellow Muslim brothers rather than being a source of difficulty or the problem. We have lots of examples from our daily life where you can connect that part there. This hadith is counted in individual action affecting the community, लेकिन ये इंडिविजुअल में आपको ज्यादा हेल्प कर सकता है. आप कम्युनिटी में भी कम्युनल हदीस में भी लिखें, बट इंडिविजुअल में भी जाएगा. Okay, that's easy hadith. Concept of one nation, concept of connection between each other, duties and responsibility of a fellow Muslim brother for his or her fellow Muslim like partners. So the a person, this is his or her duty to make sure not only he or she is doing good deed and avoiding bad deeds, but also take timely action against bad things going on in the society. So you can see here, the hadith says, whoever sees an evil action, what will be the reaction and response of a person whenever he or she sees any evil action going on in the society? So you need to develop that point accordingly. Holy Prophet ﷺ's hadith says the direct action is to stop it by hand. If you cannot stop it by hand, you need to stop it with your tongue. And if you cannot do that one, at least that's the lowest level. Of course, you're going to develop it accordingly. So this is what you need to work on it also. So Prophet ﷺ's hadith says three levels of your action or like your reaction whenever you see good thing, whenever you see bad thing there. We need a supporting reference. Prophet Quran ki ek verse hai. Actually, this hadith is talking about Amr bil Maruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. Amr bil Maruf is to ask the people to do good, and Nahi Anil Munkar means to stop them from doing bad deeds. And for this, we have a reference here. And that reference is going to be Kuntum Khaira Ummatin Ukhrijat Linnas karke puri ek verse in which Allah has mentioned Ta'muruna bil Marufi. You are the best people, evolve for the mankind in joining what is right and forbidding what is wrong. Is Surah Al Imran ka reference, it's a perfect reference. It also goes in the category of jihad bis saif, with, or we can say jihad bil yad, hand wala jo jihad hai uske andar aap ye reference add kar sakte hain. And then We have a jihad bil lisan, zaban se jihad. Jihad ke topic mein that's hadith is going to be very helpful for you. And then jihad bin nafs, by considering something bad by your heart. So again, this is jihad topic connection, और वहाँ पे आपको help करता है. How to can we do in our daily life? That's very simple and easy again. Um Reaction immediately, not to ignore any bad deed going on, or not to be the sort of support for immodest or a bad activity. Depending on your power and authority, we have to take action. Prophet ke ek hadith hai, kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyatihi, like all of you is are in charge and everyone will be answerable for the people under him. So we should take timely action depending on the power and authority. And if the person has power to stop something with using power or hand, you stop it. Not able to do that, voice. Not able to do that, at least consider it bad and move away from there, instead of being the support for such type of bad activity. Okay, so this hadith is purely communal hadith, by the way. Okay, moving on to hadith number 7. Hadith number 7 is about jihad. Again, they both are linked together somewhere. This hadith is about jihad bin nafs. Okay, nafs here means by yourself, by your person, in person, and jihad with your property, the financial jihad. Usko hum kehte hain jihad bil mal. We will discuss about it in jihad topic, inshallah. So you need to talk about that when you are going to talk about the significance of shaheed. You're going to talk about the significance of spending in the way of Allah, and it's not restricted to just the battlefield. It could be jihad with your wealth to help someone who is in a crisis, or someone who is going through the calamity or something. So that also goes there. So it's not restricted to just battlefield there. Other aspects of jihad could be included in that one. Like you can see here, physical, mental and spiritual jihad discussion could be connected in it. अच्छा, ये हदीस जो है वैसे इंडिविजुअल में जाती है mainly, if we develop it as a theme based question there. Moving on to the hadith, it is about, also we can say it's individual hadith. Prophet ﷺ mentioned that the shaheed or the martyr is not restricted to battlefield. Prophet ﷺ told some other like deaths which are counted as shaheed, and the hadith covers that the one. But there is a condition. I will talk about that first. Prophet ﷺ mentioned one thing: whoever is killed in the way of Allah is a martyr. That's of course that's the first form of shaheed. That's the highest one. Oh, sorry, this is what companions thought. Prophet ﷺ told, Prophet asked them, inquired that, who do you think is a shaheed? The companions reacted, the one who dies in the way of Allah. Of course, that is the highest category. That is the way. But Prophet ﷺ said, in this way, my community shaheed will be very less. The Prophet ﷺ added few more cases. So Prophet ﷺ said, each case, and when he said in it, is in the way of Allah. In the way of Allah means he is a believer. Because Prophet ﷺ said someone who dies a natural death, he is also the shaheed. But the condition is that person is busy in doing good deeds. Then Prophet ﷺ said that the person who dies due to plague, so that is also a shaheed. And the person who dies a cholera or any other disease, like people count all the incurable diseases, the diseases or the disease in which the person goes through pain or difficulties, that is considered as shaheed. But the condition is in the way of Allah. In the way of Allah here means the person should be a believer. The person should have done good deeds, or person should be doing good deeds actually. Apart from these categories, so Prophet ﷺ's other hadiths also include some more people. Can anyone tell me what are the other categories of people about whom Prophet ﷺ's hadith says that the person, if he or she dies due to that one, that person is counted as shaheed? Anyone can anyone add any other case or example apart from the ones which are mentioned here? Okay, I will tell you, the person who dies after a prolonged sickness, but person should be a believer doing on a good deeds as well. The woman during pregnancy and or while giving birth to the kid, a person who gets drowned, any sudden death. But again, that doesn't mean the person has committed suicide and the person says, "Oh, I'm getting shaheed because I got a sudden death." No, sudden death is not in that way. Sudden death, the person is the right path. People, that's why I count the person who gets burned, the people who die in plane crashes, and someone who got drowned. Uh, even someone who got due to earthquake or something, and the people got buried underground. So such type of cases, scholars count that in the category of shaheed there. Up here, what is the purpose of this hadith is gives hope to the people and the people who are left behind, that these people will be rewarded as shaheed, and they will be uh, the family will be having good wishes for these people. But again, the condition is the person who dies, it should be a true believer, should be on the right path, must be doing good deeds in his routine lives there. Part B is again gives hope. You can see here, and like person who is suffering through disease or difficulty has a feeling that he will be counted among the martyrs, or like you can see the encouragement for that type of situations there. All right. Then we have hadith number 9. It's very easy. It's purely individual hadith. No one eats better food than what he eats out of his work hand. It's going to be purely individual, but I found one Cambridge paper. The student wrote this hadith in communal one, but the way the student developed it, examiner liked it, and the examiner appreciated that. What did the student do? The student said that when he was writing theme-based question, the student said that Muslims should be a source of benefit for the society, and they should be a healthy member of it rather than being a dependent member. And he should earn halal food and become a source of earning, and becomes economically active, and not to be the burden, and he should help. So you can see the individual hadith could be developed and explained in the way कि वो एक communal hadith वाले portion के अंदर भी use हो सकता है, but it depends on the way you develop it. We need to support this hadith by another hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding earning halal food. One hadith is seeking halal source of income is the duty after other duties. And another hadith of Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the one who earns food by his work, by his hand, is the friend of Allah. The hadith is actually Al-Kasibu Habibullah. Al-Kasib means the one who works to acquire earning in a halal way, of course. So that person is the friend of Allah. Oh, it's here below. He who works with his hand is a friend of Allah. So this reference, I will suggest you to use it in part B. Part B में आप just develop करें duties of Muslims to become the active part of the society. That's a passage number 10. Actually, I wanted to show you in the first half of the class that how you are using the hadith to develop the main teachings and how to connect it, how to put into action. You have already model answers here, my handout or anywhere. But why I was doing it, because our today's main target here is theme-based question. So I will quickly tell you what we have done in the previous classes about history and importance of Quran. I told you, you can see here parts of hadith and the checks made in it. Then we talked about types of hadith based on wording, which is first we discussed about qawli, faili, and taqriri, and then we talked about hadith qudsi and nabawi. Then we moved on to based on authenticity, we have sahih, hasan, zaif, and maudu. And then when we move on further, you will find out based on narrator, and so we had mutawatir and ahad. Then we have collection and compilation of hadith topic. We have discussed 4 stages in the yesterday's class. I will show you one question which I was asking you that I will show you today, that is about golden period. But again, collection and compilation of hadith के 4 stages हमने discuss किए. उसमें से first stage and the last stage, means first and the fourth stage are very important for Cambridge point of view, for your school exams. That is important. The golden period is most important, and then the second most important, if I say so, that is Prophet's lifetime and immediately after his death. Then again, I forgot to tell you about such questions possibility. I told you about one question about collection and compilation जो आप future में expect कर सकते हैं. एक तो सही बुखारी और सही मुस्लिम पे combined 10 mark question आ सकता है. सही है ना, हम उसको कहते हैं. And there is another possibility, but it's not asked in CI exam. Examiner can give you any 3 or 4 books of hadith name, which are hadith famous books, and they may ask you a question on that one. आपको हो सकता है आसानी के लिए choice देते हैं, 4 books के नाम देते हैं, they will ask on any 3, or they may give you just write a note on Sihai Sitta, the 6 authentic books. फिर वो easy है. लेकिन अगर they specify कर देते हैं, they specify 4 books or 3 books, तो of course you need to make sure कि आपको उन बुक्स के बारे में पता हो। तो 6 ऑथेंटिक बुक्स में फर्स्ट 2 परफेक्टली आनी चाहिए डिटेल में। And if you remember, when I was talking about Musnad and Musannaf discussion yesterday, I was telling you about Al-Mu'atta of Imam Malik and Musnad of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. I remember I had a student like 3 4 years back, and their school gave them in mock paper. They were thinking, or sometimes the teacher, when he or she gives a question in mock paper, which is never asked in CI exams, and that question becomes trending, Cambridge can give you. So वो question ये था, choose any 3 books of hadith and something like that, and they have mentioned 4 names there, and among them was Al-Mu'atta of Imam Malik, Musnad of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Bukhari, Muslim, and I think they give one more actually. They give 5, and the students were have to choosing. They have to choose 3 of them. So you need to make sure you choose the और यू प्रिपेयर फॉर दैट वन। मुस्नद एंड मुसन्नफ कलेक्शंस का जो टॉपिक है, उसमें अल-मुअत्ता और मुस्नद ऑफ इमाम अहमद बिन हम्बल आपको वैसे भी आना चाहिए, क्योंकि यू विल नीड देम इन tabein time period compilation also. If you see my handout or any handout, you will not see details there, but there if it's asked, imagine tabein ka time period, तो आप वहाँ पे मुस्नद ऑफ इमाम अहमद बिन हम्बल which was written in 174 AH, and Al-Mu'atta of Imam Malik which was written in 96 AH, वो आप वहाँ पे ऐड करते हैं। तो that is important. And then we have theme based question. This is our today's task. Indirectly I discussed with you, so I will go with a few model questions about that one. This is the topic which was left in it. अभी हम उसकी तरफ मूव करते हैं, लेकिन साथ में ये डॉक्यूमेंट वो है जो मैं आपको शेयर करूंगा, और उसके साथ कुछ एडिशनल डॉक्यूमेंट्स भी भेजूंगा क्लास के बाद इंशाल्लाह आज। So we have parts of hadith and the checks made in it. We have discussed about it. Then we have types of hadith. We have Sahih, Hasan, Zaif, and Maudu, and even we have Mutawatir and Ahad hadith discussion. This is about compilation of hadith topic. Cambridge question is written, and I will suggest you to go for this question from my another handout which I will share, that is about during Prophet's life. Now, this is also fine, but the other one might be easy to understand and to structure it. It's up to you. Whatever you want to choose, you can choose this one. This is about Prophet's lifetime, and then we have companions time period. This is companions. Even this is explained well in another document that is better. But the remaining part is explained here. That is Tabain. This is Tabain time period. This is the Taba Tabain or successors of successors. लेकिन ये एक कंबाइन क्वेश्चन में आपको हेल्प करेगा। सक्सेसर्स ऑफ सक्सेसर्स पे देयर इज अ सेपरेट 10 मार्क क्वेश्चन एक्सप्लेन बिलो। ये आपको, अगर आप ये 2 पैराग्राफ्स और ये थर्ड मिलाते हैं, तो इट विल गिव यू अ मैक्सिमम ऑफ 5 to 6 marks. If you need more than that, if you want 8 or 9 out of 10 or possibly 10 out of 10, तो वो नीचे आंसर आ रहा है। This is the answer of a 4 mark question. Why it was important to have collection of hadith, yeah, why there was a need to compile the hadith. So this part will help you. It will help you in 4 mark question, and there is a Cambridge question which was asked of 10 mark question. Uska ek part ye tha, and they have asked the question ke why the scholars thought to compile the hadith, or why they thought to categorize the hadith. And the second part of the same 10 mark question was, and what checks they made to categorize them. तो वो सनद और मतन के चेक्स हैं, लेकिन आपको शुरू में ये ऐड करना है उसके अंदर। Okay, this is the golden period of hadith separate 10 mark question, which I told you if you want to get 8 9 or above that one, so you need to go with that answer. Of course, it's a little bit detailed answer, so depending on the time and your writing speed, you have to decide about that one. The Musnad and Musannaf collections topic of hadith is explained 2 times in my handout. तो ये एक दफा मैं नीचे वाले पे आता हूँ, I will show you. Before this, we have share compilation of hadith just as a backup है। आप चाहें तो briefly कर लें, but I suggest the students names पता होने चाहिए, brief details आनी चाहिए। When we talk about Musnad and Musannaf collections, this is a 10 mark note, or 1 paragraph, 2 3 paragraphs are on Musannaf, and then we have 2 paragraphs on Musnad with details there. If it's asked as a 10 mark question, यूं लिखना है। अगर ये 4 marks में है तो यूं लिखना है। But also I want to show you one thing before I move on to other things. There is a question I want you to have a look at it. That's the question, May June 2023, and the very same question was asked a little bit earlier also. अब कैम्ब्रिज ऐसा क्वेश्चन भी देता है आपको, इसनद मतन मुस्नद मुसन्नफ। Look at the question, write about the following terms and then the relationship between them. So you are covering two areas in it. You are going to explain these terms and then you're going to connect them. So how you will connect it, different ways are there. एक connection ये है कि isnad and matan are the two parts of hadith. So आप फिर उस basis पे उसको connect करके develop करते हैं. और musnad and musannafs are the two types of collections. So this is one way. And some students may say you will connect isnad and musnad and matan with musannaf. That's your choice. First thing which examiner is looking, have you explained isnad and matan and the checks? Have you explained musnad and musannaf and the basic criteria of their definition? What is musnad? What is musannaf? And then the second part of the question you can see here, candidates needs to link them. And the linkage, two methods are there. I told you, either you link isnad and matan and musnad and musannaf, or isnad and musnad. You can see first and the third one linked, and matan and musannaf linked also. So this is up to you. That's the latest question in 2023 में जून और अब आपके पेपर में इसकी फिजिबिलिटी वापस आ जाती है. इस तरह का क्वेश्चन आप इजीली डेवलप कर सकते हैं. यूं नहीं आएगा तो मुस्नद और मुसन्नफ पे अकेले 10 मार्क का क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है, तो दैट कुड बी ऑल्सो आस्क एनसीआई एग्जाम्स. उसकी भी फिजिबिलिटी है, तो वो आपसे वहां पे पूछ सकते हैं. ठीक है, 4 मार्क्स में तो ये 2 दफा आया हुआ है, तो 4 मार्क्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी इट्स ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन. इफ यू हैव टू डू द आंसर ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन ऑन थीम बेस्ड क्वेश्चन ऑन हदीस, that is the first model question on theme based question of hadith. That is responsibilities of individual Muslims. Keep in mind, you have to read the questions once, nahi, twice, nahi, I will suggest sometimes thrice before you start answering the question. Question wording is very important. Sometimes it's looking something similar to what you have prepared, but wo expectation change ho raha hota hai, to aapne thoda sa usko khayal karna hai. Plus plan your answer, structure your answer. I will show you some Cambridge questions. इसमें आपको structuring में भी थोड़ी सी help मिल जाएगी. So you can see here, individual life से purely hadith है, and I have chosen tethered camel से relate किया हुआ है ना, the one who memorized the Quran like the owner of a tethered camel. ये वो वाला passage है, उसके साथ link किया हुआ है इसको. Then you can see the next paragraph. I have chosen the hadith about halal earning, जो आज हमने डिस्कस भी किया. वो हदीस यहाँ आ जाएगी. सेकंड पैराग्राफ. थर्ड पैराग्राफ you can see here, no sorry, that is halal foods. Second one is about the person who came to Holy Prophet and he asked that if I perform prayer and fast in the month of Ramadan. I was telling you कि individual है या communal है, तो वो फिर halal food की earning आ गई. You can see here I have chosen the hadith, the one who manages the affairs of a widow. Actually, it looks like a communal hadith. It is a communal hadith, but it is individual linked with communal. So you can use it, but develop it as individual action of a person there. And if you move on further, you will see another hadith which looks like a communal hadith. आप इस हदीस को भी डेवलप कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि इसमें वर्डिंग ऐसी है कि Prophet ﷺ told that the person should take care of the people in the society who need help and support. तो आप उस वे में डेवलप करें individual action पे. And we have more examples here, like the person's behavior while selling and buying the things. That is also the point there. I have mentioned 6 to 7 hadiths. I suggest ke 5, 6 hadiths honi chahiye, but don't just write the translation of the hadith development explanation. Highest level ye hai ki aap us hadith ki teaching ko support karen with a Quranic or a hadith reference also. Okay? This is about individual. It's a very good answer. And you can answer it easily. That's not a big deal. So 4, 5 hadiths आप easily choose कर सकते हैं. Then there is all questions. Their expectation is almost same. You can see there are different years Cambridge past papers. It's about communal life. It's about caring community, how they interact with each other, and then again communal life there. Sometimes the Cambridge mention choose 4 hadiths or 5. So again, that's fine. आप उस पे rely कर सकते हैं. It's good to begin your answer by giving an introductory paragraph like I have mentioned here, and then hadith, each paragraph containing one hadith. It's like a single man, a body. There's a hadith in our syllabus that the believers are like a single man. If eye is affected, the whole body is affected. So that is developed there. Then we have another hadith is about taking care of the Muslims, fellow Muslim brother of the society. Oh, that's about taken from the sincerity one. To be sincere with the fellow Muslim brothers is also going to be there in it. Then We have next thing here is charity. Okay, then we have here one more hadith that is about managing the affairs of a widow. And then you can see that that's enough here. If you want, you can add more hadith there in it. अब यहाँ तक आपको जो मैंने हदीसें शो की हैं, वो एक है इंडिविजुअल लाइफ पे और एक थीम बेस्ड क्वेश्चन है किसके ऊपर, कम्युनल के ऊपर है. नाउ वी हैव अनदर क्वेश्चन देयर इन इट, दैट इज conduct of individual person for the community. This is same what I was talking about, so you need to answer that question accordingly. Okay, here we have different examples, लेकिन आपने focus on examples पे करना है जिसमें individual action affecting the community, like you can see the passage number 2 or hadith 2 of our syllabus. And if you move on, you will see evil action. When someone sees evil action, what will be the person's reaction? Up, this is up to you. You will plan your answer. Just make an outline. I will write that hadith there. ये थ्री टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस हैं जो थीम बेस पे अभी तक आए हैं. मैं आपको फोर्थ टाइप भी दिखाने लगा हूं, बल्कि फिफ्थ टाइप भी, विच इज सेम, इट्स नॉट अ बिग डील. सो थ्री टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आर हैव लाइक देयर मॉडल आंसर इज अवेलेबल इन माय हैंड आउट देयर. बट कैम्ब्रिज हैज रिसेंटली एडेड फ्यू मोर क्वेश्चंस देयर इन इट. और उसमें हमारे पास एक क्वेश्चन है, एक तो ये वाला है जो अभी आया है मई जून अक्टूबर नवंबर 2023 के अंदर. ठीक है, इसमें दे हैव गिवन अ क्वेश्चन, दे हैव आस्क्ड अबाउट एवरीडे लाइफ. तो इट्स इजी, इट्स समथिंग लाइक इंडिविजुअल एंड कम्युनल बोथ. तो आपने, अगर आप चाहें, यहाँ से यू कैन सी दे आर सेइंग, कैम्ब्रिज सेइंग कि स्टूडेंट कैन यूज हदीस 7 फॉर इट, Hadith 19 for it. They have given you already the answer for that one. Hadith 13 for it, Hadith 9, Hadith 14, 6, even 15. I suggest the students to take three or four of them, which are well explained here, and that's almost the answer of this question there. Or just take the number of the Hadith from here, and then take the idea from the themes portion there. So Hadith 19 उन्होंने अच्छा explain किया हुआ है. Same goes for 13, well explained. 6 is explained, 15 is explained, and that is easy. If you don't write the translation of the hadith, it's fine. There is no need to write the translation of the hadith here. You just refer to a part of a hadith. आप पूरी translation लिखना चाहें लिख सकते हैं, but if you just write the hadith of what the Prophet speaks about. I know some students who memorizes the hadith. Westminster School में mostly students को, मैंने personally कुछ students को पढ़ाने का experience रहा है. So the teacher asks the students to memorize the hadith with their numbers also. So if the student just mentioned that Hadith 6 speaks about that or Hadith 10 speaks about that, even it is fine, like the Cambridge themselves have mentioned that one. But make sure job number लिख रहे हैं वही हो, different नहीं होना चाहिए. Okay. Then we have this one. This is a different question which is asked again in recent years. That is about how Hadith helps to establish the community. So your focus is on brotherhood in the community or in the society there. Okay, or as per Cambridge exams, again, examiner again, when you see something wrong, so Hadith 6 is the example is there. Hadith number 10 is also there about brotherhood and the concept about the Muslims connected together and taking care of the people who are in need of the help, either it's a widow or an orphan or something like that. So it's going to be mentioned there in it. This is about compassion and being kind, and while selling and purchasing things, that could be a point which you can mention there. So Cambridge gave you the numbers, but you can choose any other hadith other than that, because that is just an example. But try to make an introductory paragraph in the beginning also. We discussed about that. This is what a question I was talking about, golden period of hadith. If someone wants to go through that marking scheme, you can see that one. And this is also the everyday life I was talking about. So we discussed about this part also. So that is the all discussion about, I will say, history and importance of hadith portion, or significance of hadith in thoughts and action is never asked in CI exams, but as a backup, I have provided detail about that one. It's going to be helpful to read it. Or then we have at the end question bank there. This question bank is till 2022. So 2023, 2024, 2025 questions I personally try to show you during the whole class discussions. जब भी जो topic आता है, तो I'm trying to show you those questions with that one. So we will end the discussion here, and that is history.